Welcome to the Wellness Lab Digest, where we help you to absorb powerful, life-changing insights from top wellness experts with our daily bite-sized wellness podcast summaries. Each episode is packed with distilled, powerful takeaways to boost your health and well-being. To support this podcast, please scroll down on whatever app you're listening. Ratings and reviews are helpful. Even better, just send the show to a friend. Check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page, or simply click the Support the Show link below the episode description.
Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive with me today?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking all about this thing called heart rate variability.
Or HRV.
HRV, exactly. You know, I've been seeing this pop up more and more lately.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with all the wearables and stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, you sent me some really cool info on this.
That's cool.
Including a YouTube video with some people who really know their stuff.
Awesome.
But one of the things that I thought was super interesting was that NASA was like one of the first to use this to monitor astronaut health.
Wow. That's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is to like really figure out what HRV is all about.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how can we use it to understand our own health and well-being a little bit better?
I love that.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What is HRV really?
So, you know, a lot of people, when they hear heart rate, they think it's just how fast or how slow your heart is beating.
Right, beats per minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But HRV, it's really more about the tiny variations in the time between each beat.
Okay, so it's not so much the speed, but like the rhythm?
Exactly. The rhythm of your heart, and what's so cool is those tiny variations, they tell us a lot about how well your heart can adapt to different situations.
Interesting.
And you know that YouTube video you sent me?
Yeah.
They have this really helpful analogy.
Okay.
And they say, imagine two different heartbeats. Okay. One is like a steady drum beat.
Okay.
Always the same beat.
Boom, boom, boom.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other one is more like variable. It speeds up a little bit when you inhale and then slows down when you exhale. So which one of those sounds healthier to you?
I mean, the second one definitely like
Right.
feels more natural.
Yes.
Like it's actually responding and adjusting.
Exactly. And that's a great way to put it. Generally speaking, a higher HRV, which means more variation between those beats,
Yeah.
that's usually linked to better overall health, more resilience, and even better stress management.
Interesting.
A lower HRV, on the other hand, sometimes that can be a sign of potential health challenges.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I get a little confused with all the different ways to measure HRV.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I can understand that.
there's all these devices,
Software, yeah.
labs, wearables.
Absolutely.
It's hard to even know where to start.
For sure.
Can we break down that tech landscape a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, there are two main approaches that you'll see out there.
Okay.
The first one is called ECG, or sometimes EKG,
Mm.
and that's considered like the gold standard for accuracy
Okay.
because it directly measures the electrical activity of your heart.
So this is like what you see those athletes wearing, you know, with the...
Yes, exactly.
Chest strap.
The chest straps, exactly.
Right.
And actually, the YouTube video that you sent,
Yeah.
they recommend a specific one
Oh, really?
called the Polar H10 because it's been used in a lot of research studies and it's relatively affordable too.
So if you really want the most accurate data, the ECG is the way to go.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I'm guessing it's probably not the most convenient.
Yeah. Not for everyday use.
Right.
That's where those optical sensors come in.
Okay.
That's the second approach.
Got it.
And those are in smartwatches and fitness bands,
Right.
even in some smartphones now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they use light to track changes in blood flow.
Interesting.
And then that can be used to kind of estimate your HRV.
Got it. So ECG for like real hardcore accuracy,
Yes,
and then optical sensors for everyday convenience.
exactly.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But no matter which one you choose,
Yeah.
I imagine there are some important things to remember when it comes to like
Oh, absolutely.
understanding the data.
Yes. The experts in that video, they really emphasized this.
Okay.
First of all, don't get too caught up in comparing your HRV scores across different devices.
Okay.
Their algorithms can be really different. Yeah, so you know what might be a good score on one device might not be on another.
So it's not really apples to apples?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's also important to remember to focus on your individual trends over time rather than comparing yourself to other people.
Right. It's about me and how I'm doing.
Exactly.
Right.
So how is your HRV changing?
Right.
That's the information that you really want to pay attention to.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing is consistency.
Okay.
Try to measure at the same time every day to get the most reliable results.
So, like, mornings tend to be popular, but
And mornings are good.
the key is to just
Find a routine that works for you.
find a routine.
Exactly.
Okay. This reminds me of something they said in the video.
Yeah.
They said to think about HRV kind of like thinking about calories.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
You might not be tracking them every single day,
Right.
but just understanding the basic concept
Yeah.
is still really valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't need to be constantly monitoring your HRV to benefit from what it can tell you.
So how can we use this HRV stuff to, like, become more self-aware?
So imagine you're tracking your HRV for a couple weeks,
Okay.
and you start noticing how it responds to different things in your life.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Like, did you stay up late with friends and then your sleep was messed up?
Yeah.
And then did that affect your HRV?
Right.
Or maybe you've been trying out that new meditation app everybody's been talking about. Did
Yeah.
that make a difference in your HRV?
Right.
You start to see those connections.
Right. It's like a feedback loop.
Exactly.
Oh, this is so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things in the video that I thought was super cool
Yeah.
was they had this specific breathing exercise
Oh, yeah.
that's designed to boost HRV.
Cool.
Can you explain, like, the science behind how our breathing can actually impact our heart?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to this system called the autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
And it basically controls a lot of our body's automatic functions, like heart rate. Now, this system, it has two branches.
Okay.
The sympathetic nervous system,
Okay.
which is responsible for our fight or flight response.
Right, when we're, like, stressed out,
Exactly.
our heart's racing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the parasympathetic nervous system,
Okay.
and that's all about rest and digest.
Okay. So, like, two sides of the same coin.
Yes, exactly.
So when we're stressed or anxious, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in, our heart rate goes up, and our HRV probably goes down.
You got it. And on the flip side, when we engage that parasympathetic nervous system,
Okay.
we're promoting relaxation.
Calming down.
Right. And this often leads to an increase in HRV.
So that's where the breathing comes in.
Exactly. That's
Here.
the magic of breath work.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, like, deep, slow breathing helps activate that rest and digest response.
Precisely.
Amazing. And they actually recommend in the video to practice this type of breathing before bed.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Not only does it help you sleep better, but it also sets you up for a higher HRV when you wake up.
Exactly.
Wow. Thinking back to college, my HRV was probably in the basement during finals week,
Oh, yeah.
running on, like, caffeine and stress.
I can only imagine.
It makes you realize how much our lifestyle really plays a role.
Absolutely.
Before we jump into, like, how to actually use this knowledge and improve our HRV,
Okay.
I think we should do, like, a quick recap of those tech options again.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick review, and then in the next part, we can dive deeper into those practical applications and how you can start experimenting with your own HRV.
Perfect. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
So we talked about the two ways to measure HRV.
Right.
We've got those ECG chest straps,
Yep.
like the Polar H10 that we talked about,
Yeah.
which are considered the gold standard
Right.
for accuracy because they're directly measuring your heart's electrical activity.
Right. And then we have the optical sensors, which are awesome
Yes.
because they're in, like, everything.
They are.
Like watches and fitness trackers and some phones.
Yeah, it's so convenient.
Super convenient.
Mm.
So easy to use.
They work by shining a light
Oh, cool.
to track those blood flow changes.
Yeah.
And that gives you a pretty good estimate
Okay.
of your HRV.
Nice and easy.
Exactly. So it really depends on you.
Yeah.
What are your priorities?
Exactly. And I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
No matter which tech you choose, you got to stick with the same device.
Yes, consistency.
So you can actually see how things are changing over time.
Yes, it's all about tracking those trends.
Yeah. And speaking of insights, I thought that story in the video was so interesting
Oh, yeah. Which one?
about how the person's HRV, like, totally tanked during COVID,
Oh, yeah.
even though they didn't feel that sick.
Right, they weren't like super sick, but
It just goes to show you that sometimes HRV can pick up on things
absolutely subtle things.
that we don't even realize.
Yeah, like stress that we're not even aware of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like a window
Yeah, like a secret window.
into what's going on in our body.
Exactly.
That's really
I
cool.
think it's so fascinating.
And once you know how your HRV is doing,
Yeah.
You can start to play around with things
Yes.
to see what helps.
It was the needle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, does your sleep affect your HRV?
Right.
Or like,
What about cutting back on caffeine?
yeah, or meditation or exercise.
Great. It's amazing.
So many things can impact it.
Yeah, I love that.
It's all about experimenting.
Yeah. And we can't forget about that breathing exercise.
Oh, yeah, the one in the video.
Yeah, it was specifically designed to boost HRV.
I love that.
I want to hear more about how that works.
So remember that autonomic nervous system we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
It has those two branches,
Right.
the sympathetic and the parasympathetic.
Right. Fight or flight versus rest and digest.
Exactly. And when we're stressed out,
Our sympathetic nervous system takes over.
thinks over,
And our heart rate goes up.
skyrockets.
Yeah, and the HRV goes down.
Yeah, it plummets. So it's like our body is ready to like
Yeah. It's in the
run away from a tiger.
ready to run.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
fight.
Exactly.
A time for action.
Okay. But when we're relaxed,
Yes.
our parasympathetic nervous system is in charge.
It takes the wheel.
And our heart rate is lower.
It's nice and calm.
And the HRV goes up.
goes up, up, up.
Right. So how does breathing fit into all this?
That's the key.
Yeah.
Deep, slow breathing. It's like a signal
To our body.
to that parasympathetic nervous system.
Like, hey, chill out.
Exactly.
We're good.
Everything is okay.
I love that.
It's such a simple but powerful tool.
And they even suggest doing this breathing before bed.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Helps you sleep better.
Yeah.
And wake up with a higher HRV.
It's like a win-win.
Absolutely.
The more I learn about HRV,
Yeah,
the more I'm realizing we actually have a lot of control
we do.
over how we feel.
More than we think.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's so empowering
It is.
to know that we can actually make changes.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
It's not about obsessing over the numbers.
Okay.
It's about using that information
Yeah.
to make good choices.
About how we live our lives.
Exactly.
This whole calorie analogy is coming back to me.
Oh, yeah, I like that analogy.
Once you understand like
Yeah,
the basics,
yeah.
you can make better choices.
You don't need to track every single calorie.
Right.
Right. It's about the big picture.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to leave everyone with a question.
Ooh, I like questions.
Now that you know more about HRV,
Yeah.
what's one small thing you can do today
Today, okay.
to maybe improve yours
Okay.
without even tracking it?
I love that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Could it be that deep breathing,
that's a good one.
getting a good night's sleep,
Another good one.
maybe trying some meditation?
Ooh, yeah, so many possibilities.
It's all about experimenting
It is.
and finding what works for you.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible
It is.
to think that something as basic as our breath can really have such a big impact
Huge.
on our heart.
It really is.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder what other things we could be doing
Yeah.
that are so simple
Right.
that could have these big
Yeah.
impacts.
I love that.
But before we go too far down that road,
Yeah.
I want to just recap
Okay.
one last time
Yeah.
those different tech options.
Sure. So we have those ECG chest straps,
Yeah.
like Polar H10,
Mm-hmm.
which give you the most accurate readings.
Yeah.
Because they're directly measuring the electrical activity of your heart.
And then on the other hand, we have the optical sensors,
Right.
which are awesome
Yes. So convenient.
for convenience.
Yeah, you can find them in all sorts of wearables,
Yeah.
smartwatches, fitness trackers.
Even phones these days.
some phones. It's crazy.
Well.
Yeah, they use light to track those tiny blood flow changes.
So you get a decent estimate
Yeah, good estimate.
of your HRV.
So at the end of the day, it really just depends on
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
What's important to you?
If you want the most precise data,
ECG all the way.
ECG,
But if you want something
Really?
that you can just wear,
yeah, and track over time.
optical sensors are great.
They're fantastic.
But the key takeaway here is
Yes.
consistency.
Yes, consistency is key.
Whatever you choose,
Yeah.
stick with it.
Measure at the same time each day
Yeah.
and really pay attention to those trends.
How are things changing?
Exactly.
It's all about you
It is.
and your own body.
Your own personal insights.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I think that brings us
to the end
to the end of our deep dive
of our deep dive.
into the world of HRV.
Such a fascinating topic.
It really is.
Yeah.
We've learned so much
We have.
about what it is, how to measure it, and most importantly, how understanding it can help us make better choices
For our health.
for our health
And well-being.
and well-being.
Absolutely.
It's been such a pleasure.
Likewise, I always love chatting with you about this stuff.
Me too. And to everyone listening,
Yes.
we hope you learned some new things today too.
We hope so.
Remember, even small changes can have a big impact.
They really can.
So experiment, explore,
Find what works for you.
and discover what works for you
Exactly.
and your own HRV.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Lab Digest. If you have received value from the podcast, I have 3 asks of you. 1, share the show with your friends and send them a link to the show. 2, please leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening. And last but not least, please let me know what topics you would like us to cover in the future. You can contact me by sending me a message using the Send Us a Text link below the episode description.